Have you ever stopped to think that maybe those simple games we all played as kids could actually be the key to unlocking a much more powerful way of thinking? Today, we're going to dig into that idea and see just how true it might be.
I mean, really think about this for a second. What if all those hours you spent playing simple games weren't just for fun? What if they were actually laying the groundwork for some really high-level thinking? And what if we could tap into that same playful energy right now to build up skills like creativity and, strategic thinking?
So let's take two absolute classics. You've got concentration, which is just a fantastic workout for your memory, right? And then you have tic-tac-toe, a game that is pure, simple strategy. Now, each one is pretty powerful on its own, but what happens if we combine the best parts of both?
Well, that is exactly where the SVO memory game comes into the picture. It's basically a creative remix of those two games we all know, and it's designed to make a really powerful kind of thinking visible, all through structured and, honestly, really engaging play.
Okay, so what in the world is SVO? It stands for Subject, Verb, Object. And it's the absolute bedrock of how we communicate pretty much any idea. It's that simple, powerful formula that tells us who did what to whom. Seriously, it's at the core of almost every story or statement we ever make. And here's a perfect example that just makes it click. The mind, that's our subject. Creates, that's our verb. And meaning, that's our object. See? This simple, kind of elegant structure is the engine that makes this whole game run. All right, so how does this actually work as a game? Well, it's all about blending that familiar, fun mechanic of matching cards with the really powerful SVO structure. It's basically where fun meets focus. So you start off playing a version of concentration, trying to match concepts. But here is the big twist. Every time you get a match, you use it to form a meaningful SVO statement. And if you're playing with a friend, each correct SVL lets you claim a square on a tic-tac-toe board. So cool, right? It adds this whole other layer of strategy to the mix.
Now, by playing this, you're not just having fun. You're actually developing what's called interdisciplinary thinking. That's just a fancy way of saying you're getting better at connecting ideas from totally different fields to solve problems or just see the bigger picture. Think about how Leonardo da Vinci combined art and science. That's the exact kind of connection this game gets you to make.
And the game is built to flex this exact muscle. You can play with decks about big, abstract ideas, movies, earth science, even everyday topics. That SVO structure, it works across every single one of them. It just goes to show that the tools for creative thinking, they're universal. They aren't locked into just one subject.
Okay, this is where it gets really powerful, because we're not just talking about getting better at a game here, we are talking about building real-world skills that actually matter.
So on the thinking side of things, you're directly training three key abilities. You're building that interdisciplinary thinking we just talked about by finding these surprising links between different topics. You're sparking creative thinking every single time you form a new, meaningful sentence. And you're sharpening your critical thinking by having to decide which connections are the strongest and which ones make the most sense.
But it doesn't stop there. See, every time you create an SVO, you're practicing the fundamental unit of storytelling. And that skill, that translates directly into stronger communication, better presentations, and even leadership. Because when you get down to it, what are great leaders? They're great storytellers who can communicate a clear vision.
So let's just zoom out for a second. This game, it's really a vehicle for a much bigger idea. It's a whole way of thinking that you can apply to everything. And this right here is the secret sauce. It's called combinatory play. This is the real essence of creativity. It's not about inventing something out of thin air. No, it's about taking things you already know, like concentration and tic-tac-toe, or a subject and a verb, and just recombining them in new ways to create something totally fresh and insightful. So I'll just leave you with this question. Look at the world around you. Think about the skills you have, the knowledge you've picked up over the years. What familiar ideas can you remix and recombine? Because your next big breakthrough, it might just be one playful connection away.